So let's start off with Straw, Matt.
All right. It's designed by Richard James. The artist is NA, and it's published by AEG.
So Straw is a small card game. I don't know how many cards it is, but it probably think like the 50 card range, 60 cards or whatever. And it's kind of like the games like Uno in style. Plays a lot differently. So what happens is you've got the camel that sits out in the middle of the table, and the camel has a weight limit of 50. If anybody plays a card that breaks the camel's back, the round immediately ends. What you do on your turn, you start out with 4 cards. These 4 cards, you're going to play a card, then you're going to draw a card. When you play a card, more than likely you're playing a number. You add it to whatever the number is already, and then you state the new weight limit, and you move on. So if there's already a 5, like if the weight limit on the camel's 5, like you played a 5 on that camel, I play a 6. Now I say 11, draw a card, your turn, or whoever's turn's next. So we know the total weight limit's 11. So if you ever forget, you can count all the cards.
Right.
Some of the cards are negatives, so you can get out of jail, kind of like that, because you can drop the weight and stuff like that. If it comes to you and it's a really high weight limit, it's like 48, but you only have like 10s in your hand or whatever. There are some special cards. There is a copy. Copy will copy whatever the card that you play, the top card. So if the top card's a 6, it acts as a 6. There is a Aladdin's Lamp, which is a 1 to 10. You decide when you play it. There is a reverse card. All that does is when you play it, it's the person, it reverses turn order. And the last card is the straw. The straw that broke the camel's back. It's a 1/1000th weight or something. And you can get the weight limit to 50, but as soon as you get it 51 or higher, you break the camel's back. Well, if you play the straw, I guess not 51 or higher, because the straw wouldn't do that. But if you play the straw when it's at 50, you break the camel's back with the straw and good things happen. We'll come back to that. Anyway, when you break the camel's back, what happens is you're out that round. You lose, you don't get any points, but everyone else scores points for the cards in their hand. So the letter cards, like the copy and the reverse and the Aladdin's Lamp, aren't worth anything, and the straw is not worth anything. All the other cards are worth negative points or positive points. And you count up how many points you had. So if you got 2 6s and a -3, you've got 12 minus 3, you got 9 points for that round. You shuffle everything back up, deal 4 cards out, you play another round. You play 1 round per player in the game, so everybody's the dealer once. And then whoever has the most points is the winner. The last thing is if you play the straw, and when you break the camel's back with it, only you score that round and no one else does. So the idea behind the game is you want to have a lot of get out of jail free cards, but most of those don't give you points. So you kind of want to have at least 1 or 2 and then have a lot of high cards. So what do you think of it, Matt? You haven't played it for a little bit, but I'm sure it's probably on the tip of your tongue still.
Yeah, I actually bought this to play with the kids. We haven't played it. Oh, no, we did play it once. Take that back. We did play it once. From what I remember, I think they enjoyed it. But yeah, it's a fun little filler game. You are trying to not put out big or I guess hold. I don't know. I guess it's a weird balance. I guess you're trying to manage on where the stock is and what you play, but you want to try and have good sized cards in your hand too, but you don't want to get stuck with them at the same time. So, because then that's all you got to play, and then the big card will break the camel's back.
Right. Yeah, that's my favorite thing about the game is that you're like, oh man, it's getting really high on the weight limit, and that sometimes that'll go up really fast,
right?
Because people are starting to put 7 and 8s down, and by the time it gets around to you, so I think it's like 5 players, maybe 6. I'm pretty sure it's 5.
2 to 6.
2 to 6. Okay.
Best with 5 though.
Oh, there we go, man. Actually, best with 5, I kind of liked it mostly at 4.
Really?
And I really like it at 3 too. With the only stipulation is with 3, I like to play 2 rounds for each player. So
just because of how quick it is, I guess.
Yeah, because it's not a very good 2-player game. It just really isn't, because somebody wins with one really high score, and that's pretty much game.
Right.
You almost don't even need to keep going. But in a 3-player game, you got because the more players you have, the less often you're going to break the camel's back. You know what I'm saying? Because it might break on 4 other players' turns if you're playing, or 5 if you're playing 6 players. But I do like it with 3 because it forces it back to you really fast, and you can't play it safe.
Right.
A lot.
I can see that.
So I think the scores are probably maybe higher in a 6-player game. I haven't played that many 6-player games now I think about it. I think mostly I played 4, if I had to guess how many, like the most I've played of 1 player count. I played it a lot 2 and 3, and 2 players is just kind of, I'm done with it.
Right.
It's mostly just to show somebody the game.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the special cards? Like, I feel like there's just enough, but not an overwhelming amount. So you can kind of teach everybody, and it's not really that the cards are really simple abilities. But
I mean, that's a good way to put it. It's not overwhelming, and they're simple on what they do. I mean, it turns the order around or it copies.
Yeah.
Probably the most difficult one is the lamp.
That's true. Yeah, just because you have to say a number.
Yeah, you got to pick something, which it's not difficult either. It's just the most difficult.
Right. The only difficult rule in the game is people to remember if you copy the Aladdin's lamp, it doesn't copy what the player before you set their lamp as. It just copies it as an Aladdin's lamp, and you get to make up the new number for yours.
Right.
So that's like the only kind of weird rule I've ran into, and I usually don't even. I kind of say it, but I just reiterate it whenever it happens. Be like, well, you don't have to make it that number. You can make it whatever you want,
right.
Which is win-win for them because they can choose what they want. So if they want to go with the original number, then sure. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. If you're a fan of like Uno and those classic card games, I feel like this gives you the feel of a classic card game like that without like bad design.
Right.
And a pretty interesting scoring system.
Yeah.
So this isn't going to be like top 10 material, I don't think, unless your forte is small card games, then maybe it has a chance. But I think it's definitely a game that you should have in your collection. I mean, for me, unless you just hate card games like this,
right,
I would stay away from it. But otherwise, if it sounds interesting, I mean, you're probably going to like it. I haven't had anybody not like it. The only other negative I would say about the game, which I'm going to take care of, is that the card quality is bad. I mean, I was shuffling it like bridge shuffle, and my finger, I didn't even have fingernails, and it punched through one of the cards.
Oh.
So one of the cards is very marked. It went back, but like the paper still has that cut in it.
Right.
So the card quality is not great. I'll probably end up sleeving it and putting it in a deck box because the cards fit perfectly in the little blister back,
right.
Plaque that it comes in, or a little tuck box. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably just cut the front off and like tape it to the front of the blister pack, kind of like I did with the Epic card game.
Gotcha.
So anyway, I recommend it. What about you?
Sure.
You don't have it, though.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Do you really?
I said it a little bit ago. Yeah, bought it for the kids.
Did you say? Oh, maybe I was checking my phone.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing that.